Formula One is a sport full of surprises, but the latest chapter of the silly season was understood early on to be a matter of when rather than if. It has finally been revealed that fan favorite Nicholas Latifi has been sacked by Williams, kicking off yet another battle in an already baffling chain of events that started during the summer break. Without further ado, let's take a closer look at the true reason why Latifi was let go, his surprising reaction, what's next for Nicky, and the insane list of replacements Williams have already lined up, begging for that final seat. Latifi made his Formula One debut with Williams at the start of the 2020 season on a 3-year contract, but has struggled to match teammates George Russell and Alex Albon in terms of form. The departure of the Canadian has been widely anticipated for several months, but Williams confirmed the news on Friday, revealing that his contract will not be extended. Latifi did not score a single point in his first full season with Williams, which struggled at the back of the grid. His first F1 points came last year in Hungary, where he finished 7th, assisting Williams to its first points finish in over 2 years. The Canadian, however, has yet to finish a race higher than 12th this season, whereas Albon and Nick de Vries, who covered Albon's shift at Monza, have both scored points for the Grove-based team. Nonetheless, speaking after the reveal, Williams F1 boss Jost Capito praised Latifi as a great team player with a positive attitude towards his colleagues and work, who is well liked and respected throughout the industry. "Our time together is now coming to an end, but I know he will put full effort into maximize what we can do together for the remainder of this season," said Capito. "We wish him all the very best of luck for his future, both in and out of the cockpit." The writing appeared to be on the wall for Latifi as early as late spring, when the first rumblings of Alpine's plan to place Oscar Piastri at Williams for next year began to emerge. His on-track struggles meant there wasn't much to strengthen his case for keeping his seat at Williams next year, so Friday's announcement that his contract would not be extended was unsurprising. However, the news allows Latifi to move forward with his racing career and provide some closure. His 3 seasons in F1 may not have produced the desired performances, but they did include some extremely difficult circumstances. A difficult pill to swallow after spending so many years preparing to make the step up and realize your dream of becoming an F1 driver. Latifi entered the F1 grid for 2020 after a significant amount of testing, both privately and in official sessions, and demonstrated in F2 that he had the speed to make the step up. However, with Williams still reeling from a disastrous 2019 season and cut off from the rest of the F1 pack, it was always going to be difficult for him to make an impact. That's before you consider COVID, which delayed his debut until July, and the fact that Latifi had to compete with a talent like George Russell across the garage. It was not an easy place to start for a newcomer. The first breakthroughs came last year, when Williams began to find more performance, latching back into the midfield. Latifi's 7th place finish in Hungary gave him his first F1 points, and it was Williams' first score in more than 2 years. Russell's tears may be the most vivid memory of that day, but Latifi's efforts were equally important. After a strong qualifying performance on Saturday, he earned another point at Spa when the rain came and cut the race short. But then came Abu Dhabi. The effect of last season's finale on F1 in general is well known. However, Latifi is sometimes a forgotten character in the story. As the fallout began, he was subjected to absurd accusations, abuse, and even death threats, the gravity of which caused him to fear for him and his family's safety. It was sickening to think that a racing driver who had simply made a mistake would be subjected to such vicious attacks. Latifi may have tried to leave Abu Dhabi behind, but it was easier said than done. It would have had a significant psychological impact on anyone, regardless of how strong they had become in their training as an elite athlete. Jost Capito recently stated on the High Performance podcast that the effects of Abu Dhabi had impacted Latifi's early season form. "It was extremely hard. Anybody who didn't go through this has no idea how it feels. Even if you switch off your social media, you are in contact with other people who still see it. You know what's going on, and you just can't get away. I'm sure it affected his driving after that. I'm convinced about this. I can understand that. And this is why we gave him the confidence and supported him all the season." Latifi's lack of form in comparison to his teammate persisted even after Russell was replaced by Alex Albon. He was perplexed by the car, lamenting after Canada that there wasn't really anything enjoyable about his race on the track. A chassis change at Silverstone gave him the confidence he had previously lacked, and he hoped Williams would judge him from then on. But when Nick de Vries scored points at a late stand-in Monza, it appeared to be the final nail in Latifi's hopes of staying for 2023. It is unclear what Latifi's future holds. He had ties to an F1 team since 2018 when he made his Force India practice debut while still racing in F2. If he looks into other racing categories, he will face a significant change. Some sources claim he is already in talks regarding an Indy car drive. Others suggest he'll follow in his father's footsteps and leave the world of racing in pursuit of a successful business career, something Nicky openly revealed his interest in. Many Latifi fans are backing the Canadian national treasure to stay in the F1 paddock, simply wearing different overalls. A move to Haas or even Alpine has been mentioned, and while stranger things have happened in F1, given the budget cap, Latifi's money suddenly became an irrelevant factor, ruling a move to Haas, let alone Alpine, completely out of the question. But an even bigger change will follow for Williams, who are now seeking a replacement. There are 4 main contenders in this regard. The first driver that comes to mind, and the one who is most likely to be called up, is of course Nick de Vries. De Vries outperformed expectations at the Italian Grand Prix after driving for 3 different teams in practice season before receiving a last-minute F1 call-up for Monza. Because Albon intends to return for Singapore, Williams appears unlikely to get another chance to evaluate de Vries in a race before 2023, but clearly others have seen enough at Monza. Monza is a very significant circuit, but you can already say with certainty that de Vries would be a good plug-and-play candidate. And while he'd be an F1 rookie, he is about as experienced as an F1 rookie can get, thanks to his extensive junior career as well as his time in the World Endurance Championship and Formula E. The obvious stumbling block here is that Alpine may have turned de Vries' head. But even if that isn't the case, there is clear competition for him, which means Williams would have to offer better terms than they would in a vacuum. He'll also be 28 when the 2023 season begins, which is significantly older than any other option on the table. And while that's still plenty young enough, you have to wonder whether he is closer to performance ceiling than some of the other options. Logan Sargent is the next option. The 2015 karting world champion, something he shares with de Vries, joined the Williams stable last year and is having a strong rookie F2 season. He needs to finish in the top 5 to secure a super license, and while he is currently 3rd, he is only 25 points ahead of 10th place with 1 round remaining. Sargent basically went head-to-head with 2022 silly season protagonist Oscar Piastri in both British F4 and F3, indicating that he is a serious driver. And now that Red Bull's pursuit of Colton Herta has fallen through, bringing in a fellow American could be an opportunity for Williams to capitalize on that particular marketing opportunity while also potentially getting in the good graces of F1, which is clearly intent on maximizing the US market. Next man up is Jack Doohan. Doohan, the son of 500cc bike racing legend Mick, was brought into the Alpine Academy after his split with Red Bull. He has had a breakout first season in F2. He trails Sargent by 11 points but has won 3 races to Sargent's 2. He also needs to ensure that he has a super license, but Alpine is clearly interested in him as an ideal Piastri rebound and has offered to arrange for him what it had planned for Piastri alone. Doohan's F2 exploits are no fluke. He already drew attention when he arrived at the championship for the final 3 rounds last year, and despite his less than spectacular results in lower categories, he was a creditable F3 threat last year, implying that he may be a driver who improves with more powerful machinery. Doohan, however, would not be a homegrown prospect like Sargent, and if he does well, Alpine will want him back eventually. But unlike the Piastri case, that some point should be theoretically further away, given that the proposed lineup of Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly should provide Alpine long-term stability. Finally, we have Mick Schumacher, the 4th contender. Schumacher is regarded as a complete outsider, but he remains the most logical of Williams' experienced options. The 3 drivers above him on our list have only 1 F1 race start between them. That number is 37 for Schumacher. And there's been a lot to like in those 37 starts, while the fact that he now appears to be gaining steam relative to Haas teammate Kevin Magnussen is eerily similar to the traditional Mick Schumacher trajectory, in which he gets really good in the middle of his 2nd season in the series. Another factor to consider is that he clearly has marketing and fan appeal, and not just because of his famous surname, but because of a large portion of the F1 fan base appears to have taken to him. However, there are some drawbacks. A major advantage of hiring an experienced driver over a rookie is that they are more likely to keep the car in one piece, but with Schumacher, you can't be sure. While signing him will provide a PR boost, it will also bring a great deal of scrutiny, which a team in Williams' position may not want. Finally, the fact that his camp and Haas appear to have soured on each other is not likely to entice another team to step in. As the examples of De Vries and Piastri show, F1 teams are more motivated to pursue a driver when they know someone else is interested in them. But what are your thoughts? Who will fill Latifi's spot in Williams for the upcoming season? Was it fair to let Latifi go? Or was there a chance he could turn things around come 2023? Let us know in the comments section down below. And if you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. It helps us out a lot.